Hello. I feel like I owe all of you a little update. I haven't been posting very much on this channel recently, but I'm excited. I only want to come when I have something of value, something important to share. I hit a point recently where I decided I want to completely reinvent myself and my work. This happens to me about every year to year and a half. It sort of feels like an existential slap in the face. I don't know why this happens or where it comes from. Basically, it marks the beginning of a new phase. And I know that I'm entering uncharted territory once again. This is just how I operate. I don't know. I have to keep it interesting and fresh for myself, or else I just get bored and I don't see the point in making things. And so basically, because I like branding every sort of phase of my life, we are entering very soon a new phase I'm going to be calling Nathaniel Drew 4.0. And basically, this phase is going to be marked by an exploration in making my videos even more cinematic, even more filmic, even more intimate, stylized. I'm excited because whenever I begin a new phase like this, it forces me to learn all kinds of stuff that I didn't know before. It's forcing me to be engaged in my videos in a new way. Before I go too far into what Nathaniel Drew 4.0 is and what you can expect, let me rewind a little bit and explain each of the different stages as I see it. So I started my main channel in 2015, in the summer of 2015, which is now over 8 years ago. One of my inspirations at the time was Jack's Gap. I just liked the videos that they were making, and I wanted to call my channel something similar, so I actually called it Nathan's Way originally. So at that time, I wasn't even Nathaniel Drew, really. It was Nathan's Way. And basically, that phase was the first 4 years of my time creating videos on YouTube. And I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just learned the basics of editing. And I just started experimenting to see what I even enjoyed talking about. And it kept coming back to culture and languages and stories about life. I don't know, I just didn't know how to make cinematic videos, and I didn't have any experience. I hit a bit of a plateau after a little while, and I stopped making videos, and I worked in the film industry and gained experience and learned a lot. And then, at the end of 2018, I decided to give YouTube another go. And I rebranded my channel to Nathaniel Drew, and thus began Nathaniel Drew 1.0. This is probably the phase that you discovered me if you've been following me for a long time. This was the period in my career where I was posting every single week. I was very disciplined, very rigid with my schedule and my routine. I was in a phase where I really wanted to just throw everything I had into making videos and raising the quality level and iterating quickly. It did come at the expense of my social life and my romantic life, but my career during this first phase of Nathaniel Drew exploded. I mean, finally I broke through and the algorithms blessed me. And in that time, I gained hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It was very exciting, it moved very quickly, and it was very self-improvement oriented. I think I've always had a little bit more of a spiritual, creative bend to things, but at that time, it was very self-improvement. So this was during my time living in Mexico. I lived in Italy during this time as well. And then I ended up finally moving to France. And then came the pandemic. And the pandemic actually prolonged this first phase just a little bit longer, because as I was coming to Paris, I had this idea that I wanted to create community. I wanted to connect with people more. I wanted to feel at home. But because the pandemic happened, there was a lockdown, absolutely no physical, social interaction with people. Therefore, I just decided to work right through the first lockdown. But by October of 2020, I was pretty burnt out, and I needed to take a break. So I took a month off of social media. For those of you that watched this video a few years ago, I made a video sharing my experience, but it was one of the best months of my life. I mean, I had so much fun living in Portugal for that 1 month, experimenting with other things, taking a break, reflecting on my life. What do I want with my life? And this is what kicked off Nathaniel Drew 2.0, where I decided to take a big step away from this focus on self-improvement and discipline and routine and sort of go in the other direction. Throw all that out the window and do a lot more travel and a lot more experimenting with style and with, just living life. So I bounced around for a while doing that. And it was during this phase that I did, some of my happiness series in the Netherlands, in Iceland. And that went for a year and a half, all the way until I got the keys to this apartment. And when I got the keys to this apartment was right around the time I decided I didn't want to be so chaotic necessarily. I didn't want to be traveling around so much. I love travel, but not constant travel. And I wanted to try again with Paris. This time, a little bit more in a more normal world, if you will, if we can even call the world normal. The reason this didn't happen before was because as the lockdowns were ending, I wanted to get out of Paris. I wanted to get out into the world because I had felt I had lost a year and a half of my life. That's why Nathaniel Drew 2.0 happened. And then Nathaniel Drew 3.0 was all about, let's try again with Paris. Let's create a sense of community. I have never been stable in one single place for very long, so let's change that. That was what brought the salons, and the gatherings of different friends to have conversations about life and art and whatnot. That brought the podcast. For the first time in my life, I had friends that I would see very regularly and that would live in my own neighborhood. Neighborhood life. That was new to me in my adulthood. My parents moved to France, so now I have a feeling of family here as well. That was really unexpected. And that was very cool, But recently, I just felt this itch again to break into new ground. It took me a while to get clarity on what was missing, but I have felt a desire to push my boundaries artistically again. I try to strike a balance of doing videos with a message that is really valuable and important to me, while also thinking about what can I do that can have reach on a platform like YouTube. It's always a balancing act. But sometimes I have felt a little bit like the algorithms can dictate a little bit what it is I'm making. At this point, I know what it takes to make a viral video. It's not that hard. You have to have a really great idea at the right time and produce it properly. And that can be fun for a while, and I still like to do that from time to time. But there's this constant pull, this tug to make beautiful things, to move myself emotionally in the process of creating something, and then to move other people when I share those things. And there have been plenty of videos over the years that I'm proud to say have done that. I don't know, I guess I sort of just felt a sudden desire to double down on it and push the boundaries even more. I don't feel like I've done everything I can. And that is what brings us to Nathaniel Drew 4.0. Put very simply, I want my videos to feel even more cinematic, even more intimate, even more stylized and filmic. I still feel like I have not even scratched the surface of what is possible. So yeah, this is a new phase of my life and I don't know where it's going to lead. I'm still trying to figure out what the right balance is because some of these videos take a really, really long time to make. I'm talking about the ones on my main channel. Some of them take a super long time. But I still love having this space on No Backup Plan for more casual videos, to continue occasionally doing podcast episodes. I really enjoyed doing that. It seemed like a lot of you really connected with that. I'm gonna try and find a balance between doing very high production quality videos and very simple ones, just to mix it up and have a balance. And that will also allow me to show up a little bit more regularly. I don't make promises like I used to about showing up every week or even showing up every month, but I think it is safe to say that my mind is always thinking about these sorts of things. It's always thinking about the next story I'm going to tell, and I'm always working at it because there's a real joy for me in telling stories that matter to me. So anyway, yeah, this is just a little update. I'm excited to share a lot more exciting stuff in the coming months. I thought you'd like to know, for those of you that have been following my work for a while and are curious to see what I'm up to. And yeah, I'll keep this short and sweet. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.